I'm Sarah Russell.
I'm JQ Walker.
Mint, and we are
The Neurodivergent Report, a research-based podcast by and for neurodivergent brains.
In each episode, we'll explore topics relating to neurodiversity and coping strategies by reviewing the literature and discussing current topics.
We will also have interview episodes where we sit down with experts in the field and listeners like you, with the hope that together we can all learn to heal in community.
However you are able to engage, thank you for being here.
We really can start with that because America really is the Walmart of the world. So over the past 4 years, I've sort of been working like internationally, you know, I've met people from all over, Kuwait, fucking Switzerland, like gosh darn it, all over the place. And I've been trying to be this wonderful ADHD coach for like all this multicultural like society that we have. But unfortunately, like the cultural standards that we have in America are like still, you know, they're still normalizing like come as you are in the other parts of the world. They're very much like still on that ableist colonialist bullshit, but go
100%.
off.
Yeah.
Like
Sarah,
there are these standards, and I'm considered the Americanized one in my family. So when I do that, when I go out with my hair wet because I'm late, my mom would say, "You can't go out like this. You know, this is Kuwait."
Right.
Mom.
I love this so much.
Moms are so helpful. Really.
Moms are
I think I'm
savage.
gonna-
Segue into
2 parts.
welcome to the Neurodivergent
Yes.
Report. I'm Hint.
Welcome.
We have Jay. We have Sarah. And Jamie, tell us what we so selfishly want to learn from you, who you are, and what you do.
So, hi, I am Jamie Cutino. I'm a licensed occupational therapist. I've done a couple TEDx talks. Fun little thing
Cool.
about me, I was on a reality show for entrepreneurs once, but I don't know if our season's ever gonna get on Prime
No.
TV.
Wait, what was it?
because
What was it?
Is it on YouTube?
It's not. It was not like a Netflix thing.
Yeah.
And you know, technically, the season 6 is on like Amazon Prime. You don't have to go buy it. Honestly, they need to really work on their audio quality and shit. And I didn't get very much screen time, but it's fine. But anyway, that's a little fun fact about me.
That is fun and factual.
Thank you. So yeah, I work with ADHD women, and I'm here to talk about all things like occupational therapy and how that can help you as an ADHD and neurodivergent human. So yeah.
Perfect.
Love it.
You know, first of all, I need to give credit where credit's due. This was a J move, what I just did. I'm just letting you know. So
J move?
I've been just learning from the voiceover master, and I took a shot today. I'm like, you can do it.
You know what I thought? Like literally after you did that, I thought to myself, I was like, "Damn, Hind, that was smooth." And now I hope that it's not because you just mirrored something that I've done, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, like that was amazing."
No, you
like,
should. But you should. You should though. You should.
Oh my god.
Second of all, in psychiatry residency programs, when you apply, the word holistic approach is always talked about. But people, I don't think psychiatrists, when they apply, at least at the beginning, know what that means. They just say, I support a holistic approach without knowing what that means. With ADHD, I feel that you are part of that holistic approach. And
100%.
a person's ADHD journey is not complete without sensory regulation. Medication is not just going to do it. That's not going to be enough.
Not going to cut it, unfortunately.
No, medication alone is. So I was someone who had done a lot of work on trying to, you know, compensate in other ways before. Medication was like the last missing puzzle piece, but medication alone is not going to help you with executive functioning. It's not going to help you with your sensory needs. It will maybe a little bit. I noticed that I don't get as overstimulated when I'm on my stimulant meds versus when I'm not. But yeah, no, you need a whole hell of a lot more than medication to be able to live a functional life with ADHD.
I mean, everybody has a different relationship with medication, but the way that I've kind of felt about it, and the kind of also the school of thought in psychiatry that I kind of fall in, is that like medication puts you in a place to better engage with, if it's a therapeutic thing, to engage with therapy. But if it's like a building systems thing, like that's kind of more, you know, you're not therapizing yourself out of being neurodivergent, but medication can help you better engage with the systems that you have in place to make the world a little bit easier for your brain in this world that's not meant for your brain. So
1000%. 1000%. I've heard so many people like say just like that of like medication allowed me to use the tools that I've been learning and for myself, and a lot of other people that's been the case.
Yeah. So what are the things that, you do that open people's eyes to their life and their sensory needs?
So,
What do you do when you see a
I
client?
think
well, I want
Sarah?
specifically, I want to say it the way that Sarah has it written down on here. Who the fuck are
Yes.
you? And what do you do? What the fuck is an occupational therapist? Tell us, Jamie. We need to know.
Oh my gosh. An occupational therapist is someone who bridges the gap between your deficits and what the heck you want to do. Remind me, are we allowed to curse on this podcast?
Well, I just
Or do we
cursed
keep
3
it clean?
times, so go for it, girl.
Okay,
Yeah.
beautiful. Perfect.
Yeah.
Fuck is just such a part of my vocabulary. I don't even realize when someone's cursing. So like occupational therapy bridges the gap between your deficits and what you're looking to accomplish. And because of that, it is so broad. But when it comes to ADHD specifically, we have challenges with everything pretty much that involves our frontal lobe, because we have an underdeveloped frontal lobe. Emotional regulation, executive functioning, starting a task, finishing a task, switching tasks. But a lot of us also have a lot of difficulty with sensory needs. A lot of times when you're ADHD, you are sensory seeking. If you are, say, autistic, a lot of times it's sensory avoidant, and it's not always that cut and dry, black and white. I'm ADHD, so I have it across the fucking board. Yeah.
There's also like high sensory seeking, low registration on the spectrum.
Yeah, that can, Or, I mean, it also can go based off of what sense you're talking about. When it comes to sight, I'm very, very sensitive to lights, to brightness. I can get a headache in 0.7 fucking seconds when everything is too bright. But when it comes to touch, I need to be fidgeting with something. Right now, it's actually driving me insane that I don't have a fucking chair that I can sit in that can touch my back, because the chair that I have, it's so comfortable when I'm sitting in it just regularly, but when I have to like be upright and doing a podcast, I'm like, okay, it's fine. We can grin and bear it, because I need to have the audio quality be good and like be sitting upright. Anyway, there's a lot of different things that OTs help with, but when it comes to ADHD specifically, it's a lot of executive functioning and a lot of sensory needs, and how that translates in all different environments, your home life, your work life, your personal life, all of those things.
Which is so interesting, because I've heard the term occupational therapist and OT like so many times. And one thing that I'm kind of wondering about too, like, so you said stuff about like, oh, it helps you with like your home life, with your job, but why is it called like an occupational therapist? Is that just because originally we were supposed to help you just get things done at your job? Like what?
Because it's a terrible fucking name. I honestly don't know the origins of the name. It's a terrible fucking name.
We don't know whose fault it is. All right.
We don't know whose fault it is.
Yeah.
We'll point fingers when we figure that out.
Yeah.
I heard someone say once that it should be called a functional therapist, because we really help you to function in every part of your life. And I agree with that. I really wish occupational therapists were just called functional therapists, but we're not. And I'm not sure why occupational therapy, why it came to that name. But yeah, no, we help in all different areas of your life.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
So I have a question that is maybe on here, but not at the top.
Go for it, Sarah.
How does somebody with ADHD know that they have sensory needs? Because it's not in the diagnostic criteria. Like if you're recently diagnosed with ADHD and you're learning everything there is to know about ADHD, you're not going to come across like a lot of sensory accommodation stuff right at the beginning. It's going to be mostly that executive function. Why am I late? Why can't I this? So how does someone come to you with sensory issues? Like, how do they know?
People don't come to me specifically because of sensory issues. They come to me for, I'm having trouble at work. I know. They come to me, I'm having trouble at work. I'm having trouble in my home life. I'm people pleasing like a motherfucker. And then there's a lot of work that I do with boundaries, especially with my clientele of career-driven women. But sensory needs is not something that they come to me realizing that they need. It's something that we work on once they're there. And if you are not sure if you have unmet sensory needs, I want you to ask yourself some questions. When you're sitting in a chair, do you find yourself fidgeting? Do you find yourself doodling on the side of your paper because you need something else stimulating to do? Do you find yourself getting headaches when you're in a room that has a really bright light for way too long? Is a repetitive noise like a fan in the background, is it really irritating? Or do you need noise on to be able to focus? These are all sensory needs, and there's a good chance that you are already trying to self-accommodate in some way, because somewhere, like, intuitively, you just know that you need these things. As a kid, I knew that I could not focus on my homework if I didn't have music playing.
Yeah.
Now, as an adult, I'm actually the opposite way, where I'm just like, I can't
Yeah.
focus if I can hear a fucking thing. I think just life can be overstimulating when you're an adult in this world. But yeah, no, you have sensory needs. And if any of those rang a bell, that's just the, tippy top of the iceberg of like, yeah, we all have sensory needs. They're just different when you are neurodivergent, when you're ADHD, when you're autistic.
So this is a great question. Obviously, first of all, shout out to Sarah. You always do the background work and it's so amazing. The script of the episode is amazing. And I love this question.
I am just naturally curious, and so we're able to work to those strengths here.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It's amazing. So I'm sure people will ask this. So you seem to be helping them with their lives. How are you different from a therapist? And how are you different from an ADHD coach, or is it both the same and you have an extra edge because you have an occupational therapist background?
So a solid mental health therapist can be really fantastic in a lot of ways. If you're, dealing with trauma, if I feel like that's one of the ways that a mental health therapist is going to better help you than an OT. And I've literally told people before, I think that you would be better served by a mental health therapist before coming to me, because you've got some things to work deep on that I am not trained in. But an occupational therapist, a lot of times my clients, before they come to me, they've exhausted mental health therapy, thinking that that's what they need, when really they need a way to be able to function in this world with ADHD, which is knowing how to accommodate yourself at work, how to work with your decreased executive functioning, how to meet your sensory needs. These are things that you're typically not going to find with a mental health therapist. With a mental health therapist, your mental health improves because you're diving deep into mental things. With an occupational therapist, your mental health improves because your outward functioning improves. And a lot of times people think that there's something internal going on, like mentally internal going on, when it's really external, and your functioning is what's creating a lot of anxiety. Untreated or unmanaged, I'm trying to think of like a better word for it, but unaccommodated ADHD can result in anxiety, which long term, over time, if you have anxiety and you can't get anything done, that can result in depression. Someone can go to a mental health therapist, be diagnosed with ADHD and depression, but really they have unmet needs linked to the ADHD, which if that was being met, they may or may not, depending on if it's situational or genetic, have anxiety or depression. That's where an OT really differs from a mental health therapist. It's your mental health improves because your functioning improves, versus a mental health therapist, your mental health improves because your mentality, your brain improves. I'm trying to think, because your thinking improves, your cognitive, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. There are two approaches.
Okay.
It's inside out, and then there's outside in, and you need to do both. And I think this is something Sarah told me.
It's the same concept behind like body and brain stimming.
Yeah.
Body regulated to keep the other regulated.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm at a stage now where I've exhausted all the resources and I'm looking for sensory stuff. And it's exactly what you said. So that brings me to the question. How did you know about occupational therapy? How did you know that this was your calling? This is not something that's easily talked about.
Yeah, so I did not go into occupational therapy thinking that I was going to work specifically with ADHD humans. I actually did not know that I had ADHD when I started my college career. I did not know I had ADHD until I was toward the end of my occupational therapy program, actually. I went into OT because I wanted to help people that had chronic pain. My mom, growing up, had chronic pain, was disabled in that way. She also had ADHD. But I really want to help people who have chronic pain because I saw how detrimental that can be to people's lives. So I actually went into this field thinking I want to help people with chronic pain. I always knew I wanted to help people with disabilities. I did not realize that I was one of those disabled people that desperately needed help myself. So it was through that journey and that evolution of like, holy fuck, life has been really hard because I did not know how to accommodate myself. I really want to help other people to learn how to live functionally because I see now how different my life is. So that was the evolution. I had originally actually got into OT because I was looking into physical therapy and saw that I needed a doctorate, and I said, fuck that life. Found out that OT only needed a master's. Only a master's. It's still a lot of fucking
Only
schooling,
masters,
especially-
excuse me.
Gosh, it took
Yeah.
me oh my gosh, it took me 11 years to get my 6-year degree because of having unaccommodated ADHD. Completely unmedicated, unaccommodated, raw dogging life out here
Raw
without a
dogging it,
diagnosis.
yep.
Exactly.
Raw dogging it.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, I could
Like-
have taken over the fucking world with accommodations and Adderall, I tell you what.
Yeah. Oh, that grief
Yeah.
when you realize the things that, yeah.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
I mean, I love that you said just masters. Let's just stop there because getting a master's as is amazing. But you
It's a
said
huge
that
deal.
with a lot of unmet needs. And I'm just saying, why is this the epitome of being a woman? You know, I'm just doing my master's and taking care of
Yep.
this person and cooking, and also like
Yep.
I am
Yeah.
also volunteering, and I don't think I'm doing enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I
No.
appreciate the call out. I'm so good
Yeah.
at calling that out in other people. When Sarah
Me
was
too.
on my show, she's like, yeah, like just it was a sociology degree, bachelor's? Remind me. Yeah. She's like, yeah, just a bachelor's. I'm like, bitch, shut up. Like, that's a really big deal. And we're going to talk about that really quick. So I appreciate the call out. Yeah, it actually is a really fucking big deal that I made
Heck
that
yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Proceed. I apologize for the interruption, but this was necessary.
Don't be. What were we talking about? Remind me. It turns out I have ADHD. I can't remember what the fuck we were talking about.
How you got into OT, and you said that master's was only 2 years, and then we got here.
Yeah, so I was looking at really like chronic pain. That's why I was thinking like more physical therapy, found out OT was master's. And I'm really happy that I went OT versus PT because PT is very much like, let's look at, can your arm move the way that it needs to? They don't look at the functioning, whereas OTs really look at, okay, sure, you can move your arm, let's say if you're in a setting that needs that, but like, can you put on your shirt? Yeah, that's how I got into OT, but that's our sweet spot is functioning. Yeah. Something that I noticed in my clients is that, especially because the people that come to me, they're typically having issues at work and they think that it's all just specifically work related. And what is actually going on is they went a lifetime having unaccommodated needs in every area of their life. So they go into the workforce and what do? They try to push down all of their needs, which means that they have a really hard time with executive functioning, which means that they're trying a lot harder than everybody else. They always feel like they're inadequate because even throughout K through 12 school and throughout college, they were told that they are never doing things the right way. So they overwork themselves to the point of burnout, do not know how to advocate for themselves, so therefore does not ever get remediated between, you and your coworkers and your boss who keep throwing shit on you because you're the yes person and you say yes to everything and you fix all of the systemic issues and you're working 3 jobs and we're getting paid for 1. And then one day you leave with your finger in the air and say, fuck it, I'm never coming back, thinking that the problem was that job when really the problem was that you don't know how to advocate for your own needs and accommodate your brain. And when I say accommodations, a lot of people think I'm talking about like HR accommodations. I'm talking about accommodations that you can do for yourself.
Self-accommodations.
Yes. Which, I mean, that spans across executive functioning, sensory needs, even with your boss saying like, yes or no, I am, or I'm not going to do that. So these are some things that I see repeatedly in my clients, and that always spills over to the home life. If they are in a romantic relationship, 99 times out of 100, I'm going to say 100 times out of 100, they are either in a place where they are not advocating yet for their needs, or a lot of them have realized that they went their entire relationship doing that and they're like fresh out of a divorce or something. That's the type of people that I see in my coaching practice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really sad because people often wait until it's like their conditions have changed so much that there's no going back. There's only going forward.
Yeah, and I hate to put I feel like a more negative spin on this whole thing, but one thing that I have been kind of frustrated about, and I think the same could probably be said about relationships too, is even if you are accurately self-advocating, and even if you're not asking HR for things, but you're doing things for yourself, it's still possible that the people in your work will either ostracize you or say that you shouldn't be doing those things because that's special treatment. Even if it's just something that you're doing by yourself, they could say it's like disruptive or distracting somehow. And I think that potentially in a relationship, it could be like that too. Like you just doing something for yourself or stating a need you might have makes you seem like you're being like too needy, I could imagine too. So I think that while being able to self-advocate and to be strong with those boundaries and to hold yourself firm is such an incredible step. And hopefully you find environments and people that will, just honor and respect you at a basic level that unfortunately there's because of just the way that the societal expectations and also just like the way that like our society is structured specifically with work and like expectations in relationships, like it's not always possible. And I just wanted to say that not to just wholly just be negative, but I feel like just to give an expectation of like, even if you're doing all of the things, there's also like there's the piece of the stuff that's like outside of your control.
I agree with you, but I think also, which I'm sure you also agree on that layer,
Yeah.
there are too many layers to this. First, I think the acknowledgement of those needs from you to you is a big deal.
Yes,
Just knowing
1000%.
what is missing makes a huge difference. And then
Yes.
being able to know what the other person is able to offer or not, and then say, okay, so this job was able to do this and this job wasn't. And you can tell like how well treated or mistreated you are. But again, obviously, I mean, this ableism is a big deal. I mean, in everything, you have to make sure that, we have a medical fitness exam before every job we apply to.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The accommodations that I work with my clients is things that you may not even realize that they're accommodating themselves when they're accommodating themselves. Something as simple as having a notebook on your desk so that when you think of the 17 things you have to do outside of the task that you are focused on, that you can write it down and be able to get back to that task. Something as simple as having a fidget spinner so that you have something to do with your hands so that you're able to attend better to the meeting. Something as simple as checking in with how much energy you have that day and letting that dictate if you start with the easier task or the harder task for the day. So there are a lot of ways. So I'm going to say yes and Jay. Yes, there are shit bosses and shit humans in the work environment. And there are accommodations that are very discreet that someone may not even realize that you are accommodating yourself by doing those accommodations.
I feel like I would love to, and let me know if that's too much, but I feel like the best way to know, and even for me also, like what is it that you do? Walk me through a day in a person's life who has autism and ADHD, and how can you make it better?
So
Does that seem like a fair question, or is it too much?
Yeah, no, that's not too much. I just want to put the little caveat. I work with ADHD humans. Some of them also happen to be autistic. My special interest for the longest time was ADHD, so I feel like I could write a fucking book about that. But in autism, I'm learning a lot more about it because I'm autistic myself, but that is not my specialty. So I just want to be really transparent there.
Perfect. That's good. Yeah.
So when I'm going through their life, I mean, if we're going to start at ground zero, they are getting on the first call with me and they're listing out every single thing that's going wrong in their life. And that's where the art comes in on my part to ask the questions to get to the why behind why behind something being an issue. And how about do you want to? How do you feel about going a little bit like personal, just like me and you? We'll do like a little
I
mini
don't
coaching
mind.
call.
I
Okay,
don't
okay,
mind. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I love it.
okay.
I guess. Ask me. Should I go for it, or you should? I don't know. I'm getting.
Yeah,
I'm getting nervous.
I can start this. Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. I speak just as casually with my clients as we're speaking right now. I say, fuck, I'm just a person. We are just people. I'm a person that's just trying to help you. And so don't feel any certain way. And if I have to ask a clarifying question, I'll ask a clarifying question. You just be your bad bitch self. Are there any areas in your life that you feel like you are currently struggling with?
I feel there's a lack of trust in my executive function because it has been failing me for so long that
Mhm.
there's this anxiety of feeling, what if I forgot something? So the notebook thing I really like, but there's still also that anxiety that I'm trying to deal with, okay, so I have to do this, but there's a feeling that I missed something and I get overwhelmed from my short-term memory, like very easily.
Okay, so you're feeling like you might forget something. I'm thinking that you're having that feeling because things pop up when you're not just at your desk, right? They pop up when you are driving. They pop up when you are walking
When I'm
around the house.
driving.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So you actually need a way to keep track of those things that are happening when you're letting yourself daydream, dissociate, just exist, because that's when all the things that you have to do are coming to you, right? So
Default mode network.
I was
yes.
same thing, Sarah. We just did an episode recording on the default mode, but it might be out before this one is. So go listen to that.
Ooh,
Sorry.
I can't wait to listen to that one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Love
so you
Abby.
need a way to keep track of these things when you are not like in focus mode. So here are some ideas. I'm curious if how any of them feel to you. Sending yourself an email when you think of something, or sending yourself a text message and making sure that it is marked as unread until you can get to your notebook to be able to write them down. If you are driving, make sure you are at a stoplight, but to send, like, if you have an app, like an Apple phone or whatever, like, hey Siri, make a note of yada, 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 so that you have it for later, and do this safely. Do not do this while you're driving. But those are some ways so that you can keep track of all of these things that are happening while you're not at your desk. If you can use your notes app and it won't become a black hole of an abyss, that is an option. But you are going to have to try to like work with.
That always has to come with like a monthly check-in of the notes app.
Because then it can get overwhelming and then you're like, I'm never going in here ever again.
And honestly, mine is a black hole. I have so many to-do lists and I will use them for the day and then I never go back in and delete them. And that's fine because it works for that day. But I have to have my master list like somewhere else of all the shit that's on my mind.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
And another thing too, I'm sure that as an ADHD human that you have a lot of really amazing ideas all the time, and they're not all ideas that you want to act on immediately. And you're like, okay, well, I'm going to have to just think about this thought 17,000 times until the day that I actually want to execute it. That doesn't have to be that way. For something like that, WhatsApp might be really great for, okay, this needs to be done in the near-ish future, but you can find a separate place for things that maybe I want to do in the future. Like, for example, for myself, I will text myself or email myself things that I need to do and then, write it on my paper once I get up to my desk. But when it comes to things like maybe I want to do in the future for my business that I don't have the spoons for now, I will email it to myself and then I have a file that's called like business ideas and I will just put it over there. So it's tucked away, it's safe, but it's not gone. And you have a place for all of your ideas too. So you've got stuff for your short term and your long term.
I like that. I'm going to use the email for that one for sure. So I'm using WhatsApp voice notes to send to myself for anything instant. And I think the email is going to be great for that. Ideas that I have and things that I want to do. Thank you. Great.
You're so welcome. And also, I want to hear like how that works for you or doesn't work for you personally. So please don't hesitate to reach out because I selfishly really want to hear what's working or what's not working for you too.
I know we touched a little bit on like, the workplace and stuff like that, but in terms of getting accommodations, how much of that is tied up in somebody's socioeconomic status or ability to even like ask for help in the first place?
Well, even knowing that you have neurodivergence or neurodivergent diagnoses, whether they are diagnosed or undiagnosed, that comes with a level of socioeconomic status, healthcare accessibility. And then, like, say, the conversation that Hind and I just had, I could have a conversation with Hind about this, and you could be like, okay, yeah, but, and I don't know anything about your socioeconomic status, but you could be like, yeah, okay, all these recommendations are fantastic, but I can't afford to get even another pillow for my chair, or I can't even afford to go on Amazon to see if there are like bench seating. Depending on the level, how much money you have, how much access you have, it could be that you don't even know what the issues are, let alone if you do know what the issues are, how able are you to access those supports? I myself have a coach that I pay, $1,000 a month for, and that helps me to be able to continue to run my business and improve my skill sets and whatnot and accommodate myself. Now, not a lot of people, especially in the United States, are not in that situation where they can accommodate themselves. Something like that is an accommodation for myself to be able to run my business. So your socioeconomic status absolutely has everything to do with the supports that you can access, from the point of knowing even what your diagnoses are to the struggles that you have because of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I
absolutely.
was thinking, I know someone that is a doctor and is a lot older and has been very successful in their career, but that's
Mhm.
because they have ADHD, but that's because their secretary is amazing,
Mhm.
organized, efficient,
Yep.
and basically she saved her life. So, but you need
Mhm.
money to get a secretary. I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
that's one of the accommodations that I think would be amazing, but
Mhm.
like, how am I supposed to get that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have an assistant that did all of my outreach for my speaking engagements, because my executive functioning, following up every couple of weeks with people. I mean, she's reached out to over 6,000 people. That would not be I would not have a speaking business if it wasn't for her, quite frankly, with how I was doing outreach. So, yeah, all of this is accommodations. And I also did a lot of research on how can I afford someone when I'm relatively newer in business. So, I am really scrappy when it comes to that, but in a way that's always ethical, because I refuse to pay someone less than like a living hourly wage. But yeah, it does come down to accessibility, 1000%.
Yeah, I feel like right now it's Disability Awareness Month, and so a lot of people are talking about accommodations and accessibility at work.
Mhm.
And the message that needs to be drilled home is that accommodations aren't about giving someone a leg up. It's about giving someone access to do the thing in the first place. Without
Yeah.
accommodations, like some of us wouldn't be here in
Mhm.
the chairs in the rooms that we're in.
Yeah. Yeah, if I didn't have accommodations for my boards exam, I probably wouldn't be an occupational therapist. Was able to have extra time and the ability to take breaks whenever I needed, and a quiet room that had noise canceling headphones. And if I didn't have those things, I wouldn't have my board certification. But that doesn't mean that I didn't have all the fucking knowledge that I needed to be an occupational therapist. Clearly, I passed the exam. No one was feeding me the answers. So yeah, no, it just makes it just levels the playing field a little bit. But I would argue that there is not an accommodation that ever completely levels any playing field. It just makes it a little bit more level.
Yeah, because I was thinking an
Yeah.
example, and I think we maybe touched on visible disability versus invisible, and how
Mhm.
the visible, they get more stigma, more looks, more
Yeah.
whatever, and that they have it harder. But also, if it's invisible, they get the invalidation. But I think
Yes.
a perfect example would be if going to the exam, and definitely going to the exam requires you to walk and you are
Mhm.
on a wheelchair. That wheelchair is an
Mhm.
accommodation. Does that mean you are stupid and you got this passing exam rate because you got a wheelchair? No,
Right. Right.
that's
Right.
yeah, like you weren't going to be able to go to the exam without that. I was just thinking that
Yeah.
because I think that way too. Getting accommodations, I feel I didn't earn it. And there's this internalized
Mhm.
ableism, like you said, where I feel that I need to be similar to that neurotypical person in my head
Mhm.
that I think I should be. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So much of my coaching is just breaking down all of the internalized ableism. Sometimes they know how to accommodate themselves, and it's just giving themselves permission to do so. Um, Yeah. Yeah. A lot of internalized ableism. I appreciate you bringing that up, in because when it's an invisible disability, people don't see the deficits. And therefore, if they don't see the deficits, it is dismissed. I have a friend who, she is ADHD. She was diagnosed pretty not long before she actually just recently had a stroke. So she already was dealing with the invisible disabilities of having ADHD. And now she has to deal with the looks that she gets as someone who had a stroke and has a greatly reduced use of her right side. So it's sad. I love her so much, but it was interesting hearing her talk about the differences of what she faced with
Yeah.
the invisible disabilities versus the visible disabilities.
This always reminds me of something that I didn't think would be relevant anywhere, but now I'm thinking whenever I see someone with, for the lack of a better term, an outlier characteristic, let's say they're too tall or
Mhm.
they got something that's you know, and I don't mention it. You know why? Even if it's a cool, like, wow, you're so tall, that's amazing, because this
Mhm.
person, it's a second of
Do you know
my
how many
time.
times I've heard that?
Thank you. Exactly. It eats
Yeah, me
you
too.
like, you know, a little bit every
Yeah.
single day. You get to hear this God how many times, you know, it's
Mhm.
annoying. It's annoying. And so I can't imagine what she's going through when it comes to the invisible disability, getting all these looks
Mhm.
every day. Or can I ask you this question? What, you know, it's redundant, and it takes a lot of
Mhm.
it takes a lot of the person's energy. And I wish, if there's one thing people can take away from this internalized ableism, please don't mention anything. They've heard this. There's no comment that you can bring up that they haven't heard before. Like,
100%.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they're a person, not just something to like marvel at. Like if you were really, really
Mhm.
close to that person, I'm sure that like they would disclose something to you or you would have a deeper
Mhm.
conversation about it. But when you really don't know that person, it just kind of feels like, oh, I'm just asking you this thing just because I want to understand, like, oh, this curious creature that I've come
Yeah.
across. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
100%. If you're just trying to feed your curiosity, go fucking Google it.
True.
Go do that. Go do that.
That's what it's there for. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you want to read a book about like visible disabilities and invisible disabilities, Sitting Pretty was a really good book.
Ooh. All of your book recommendations have been fucking fire, so I'm gonna go listen or I
It's
say
Sarah
listen because I
Russell Book
listen to
Club.
audiobooks.
You could listen to it. The author does have one that she reads it.
Awesome.
I really struggle with audiobooks. I am the type of neurodivergent that zones out while
Mhm.
listening to them, and then I have no idea where I checked out. So
And you know
that's
what?
not
You know
ideal.
how to accommodate yourself by ways that you can consume
Yeah,
information, and that's beautiful. If you know how like what works for you, do that.
so true. I don't have
Yeah.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
I
You're
think I
amazing.
think, you know,
Okay.
yeah, you're amazing. It's sad that, you know, we have to see someone that we love suffer from the inadequacies of a system to make
Mhm.
us be, but at least that
Care
makes us, yeah,
or notice.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
100%.
And I notice these
Sorry to
people
interrupt.
are always the ones who are more passionate and who are more likely than not to think of this more than just a business.
1,000%. I try to tell people just like, listen, I did not wake up one day and decide to hop on a trend to be an ADHD coach. I've known that I want to advocate for people with disabilities for a long fucking time, well over a decade. And this is just the way that I'm doing it currently. But did not hop on a trend, did not decide that, ADHD is trendy and I'm going to talk about it. Although, and I'm going to say it. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole of people saying that
Oh,
ADHD
that's
is
like
just trendy.
that's its
But
own podcast episode
that's
that you
its own
need. Like
podcast
that's
episode. But yeah, its own
yeah,
podcast
Yeah.
episode.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so I appreciate you seeing the passion because it's
Oh,
here.
yeah.
And
It's
it's
contagious
so
in a
needed
good
and
way.
so beautiful.
Appreciate
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So
Amazing.
that
Okay.
leads to an amazing question that Sarah has, which is, you're an ADHD coach too. So
Mhm.
I can see the edge that you have that's different already. But you know, what else do you think, you know, why is it so important for an ADHD coach to have an OT background?
Occupational therapy really requires you to have at least a surface level knowledge of most ailments in the human body. We have to understand how it's going to impact different areas of your life. So, having the OT background, I know about so much more than just ADHD, but I also have a really good understanding of how to apply this to all different areas of your life, which is why I'm going to go back to like the holistic methods idea. It's looking at the entire person. I don't know what an ADHD coach that doesn't have that background, how they would compare outside of I have a lot more medical knowledge that I use in a holistic way to understand the functionality of the person. So I would say that's kind of what differentiates me from someone who doesn't have that OT background.
Jamie, if someone's listening and wondering if they have accommodations, what would be a good and quick way to kind of get started? Maybe there is no quick way, but what would be a good way to get started?
Check in with yourself of where you find yourself getting overstimulated and try to ask yourself what is feeling overstimulating to me or understimulating. Start with something simple like fidget toy, see if that helps, or dimming the lights and see if that helps, and keep playing with it. I don't have a short answer for that, but start places like that. Where do you find yourself getting headaches, or where do you find yourself having a hard time focusing? Where do you find yourself having a hard time focusing? Start there.
Ooh.
And then look at your environment.
Little journal action just to keep it to kind of keep track of the patterns.
Yeah.
Help the working memory out.
Yeah. And then I don't have a good transition for this. Someone else do it.
Plug your pluggables.
Yeah.
My pluggables. If you want to hear me yap some more, I have a podcast. It's called Outsmart ADHD, and you can find it at wherever podcasts are streamed. And if you want to work with me, you're going to go to my website, outsmartadhd.co, not .com, but .co. And there's going to be a button that says, schedule a free consult. You're going to press it, and then you're going to press a time, and it's going to show up on my little calendar. And then we're going to chitty chat for 30 minutes. Completely free to know that if we want to work with each other. And then guess what? If I am not the best person for you, I will refer you out. I have done that for the last couple consults because I am way too ethical. And also, I don't know why more people don't do this, because if you can't help someone as good as someone else could, it's not good for your name, you silly fucking goose. So if anyone's listening to this that's a business owner and they're like, I don't want to refer out because like that could be a person, listen, they're going to trust you more and they're probably going to send people to you that would be your ideal client. So anyway, that's my little side
Wise
tangent.
words right there.
Thank you.
Wise words.
Love that.
I'm a certified non-silly goose right there.
Certified non-silly goose with some silly goose tendencies. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, you can find my podcast and consult and whatnot on my website.
Jamie, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
so
you.
welcome.
For answering
Thank
all
you
of our
for
lovely
having me
questions,
again.
for doing it in such a lovely
So
and
nice
fun
to
and
see you.
bright and energetic way. Like, it's always a good time.
The feeling is so very mutual. I love all of you.
Thanks for being here. If you want to connect with the Neurodivergent Report, you can find us at ND Report Pod on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, Substack, etc.
If you're looking to support the show, the best thing you can do is subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Please do that.
And hey, if you want to check out more about us, visit our website at ndreportpod.com. And you can also go there if you want to be a guest contributor on the show.
Till next time, be well, do good.